Hey guys, welcome to my July wrap-up. July has been a really good month for me in terms of reading. I've read 8 books so far this month, and I'm filming this on the 28th of July, so there's still 3 days to go, so I could potentially finish one more book and make it 9 months, which would be amazing. But I'm really happy with 8 books. I normally read about 1 book in just over a week, so to finish 8 in 1 month is incredible. This is partly due to the booktubeathon that occurred earlier this month in July, in which I read 4 books, which I am incredibly proud of and I'm super happy with. So yeah, let's get started with my wrap up. The first book I completed in July, I actually began in the late hours on the 30th of June, but I'm counting it anyway because it was only a couple of hours, and that is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I loved this book. I read Eleanor and Park earlier this year and I loved it, but I loved Fangirl so much more. It is absolutely amazing. If you haven't read it yet, if you haven't read any Rainbow Rowell book, I would definitely recommend Fangirl, especially if you're around 17, 18, 16 or maybe 19, if you're going into college for your first year, or university if you're in Australia like me. You will probably love this book even more because you'll be able to identify with the main character a lot better. The second book that I completed in July is Pandemonium by Lauren Oliver. This is the second book in the Delirium trilogy, and I'm not ashamed to say I picked up the first book because of the cover, because look how incredible this cover is. While I did enjoy this book, I definitely liked the first one, Delirium, a lot better. I don't really know why. Maybe it's because the first one had a lot more world building, and I really enjoy a good dystopian novel that has really in-depth world building. So I think that's probably why I enjoyed the first one better. I did like the second one. It took me a long time to finish it though. The third book that I picked up in July is Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. I saw the movie adaptation of this novel when it first came out in cinemas several years ago now, I'm pretty sure, and I really enjoyed it, so I went and I picked up the book straight after, and I just never got around to reading it. It's been sitting on my shelf that whole time. But I was looking for something that would carry me over in the week before the booktubeathon, because I didn't want to start like a huge series, or I didn't want to start anything that I put on my TBR, because I wanted to make sure that I crossed those off during the week. So I picked up Water for Elephants because I knew I would like it, and I knew it had been sitting there waiting for me to read it for a really long time, and I'm glad that I did. I did really like this book a lot. So those 3 books are the ones I read before the booktubeathon, and the next 4 books are the ones that I read during the booktubeathon. The first book that I picked up for the booktubeathon was Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. This particular edition is actually a bind-up of both Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, but I'd already read Alice in Wonderland, so I just went straight to the second book. I did enjoy this book, but I didn't love it. It doesn't really have a plot, but it's not supposed to have a plot. If you've read Alice in Wonderland, or if you've seen the movie, then you probably know it's supposed to be silly, and it's supposed to be nonsense, and it's not supposed to make sense, which makes it a really fun read and really entertaining movies, but it didn't make it an easy one to read, and it took me almost the entire day to get through, and it's really quite short. But I'm happy that I read it because I can finally take this book off my TBR. The second book that I picked up for the booktubeathon, and the 5th book of the month for me, was Unwind by Neal Shusterman. I did really enjoy this book. I thought the concept and the idea of it was really intriguing because that's originally why I bought it in the first place, but I think the world building was really lacking, and that was really disappointing for me because the world building is why I read dystopian novels, and this one's kind of science fiction-y as well, and I really enjoyed it. I just think there are a couple of places that could have been developed a lot more, and that would have made me enjoy it heaps more. The 4th book that I picked up for booktubeathon, and the 6th of the month, was The Romeo and Juliet Code by Phoebe Stone. I got this book for my birthday several years ago now, and I just put it on my shelf and I completely forgot about it. But when I was looking for books to put on my TBR, I saw it and I put it on the list because it's been on my shelf for years and I just haven't read it. I did have a lot of problems with this book, but I'm glad that I finally finished it. The last book that I picked up for the booktubeathon is Pathfinder by Orson Scott Card. This book is ginormous. ginormous. It's 656 pages and I only read it in a couple of days, which was a huge achievement for me. I thought I wouldn't finish it until after the booktubeathon, but I managed to get it done in like the last couple of minutes. I finished the last couple of pages, so I was really happy with that. I really enjoyed this book. It's science fiction and it's got a lot of science in it, like a lot of time travel and a lot of concepts that I didn't really understand, and they just went straight over my head, and I had to reread several segments of it because I just didn't get it. I really enjoyed this book because the concept was really intriguing and the plot moved super fast, so I think that's why I was able to get through it as quickly as I did. Those are the 4 books that I read for the booktubeathon, and after the booktubeathon finished, I didn't read anything for about 2 days because my brain was tired and I was kind of sick of reading, so I just kind of took a few days off. But the next book that I picked up was Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close by Jonathan Safran Foer. Not really sure if that's how you say his name or not. Sorry if I just butchered your name. This book is actually my mum's copy, and I found it when I was dusting the bookshelves out in the office area, which is where all her books are, and I didn't really know anything about it, but I thought the title and the cover were really intriguing, and I knew that it had been made into a movie, and I saw on the cover that it stars Tom Hanks and Sandra Bullock, so I just assumed that the movie was really good, which means that the book's probably really good as well. So I just picked it up. I didn't know anything about it, and I think it's really good to go into it not knowing anything about it, but I would definitely recommend this book if you haven't read it. It was really good. It was a really interesting and heartwarming read. Those are the 8 books that I've read so far this month, which brings my total for the year up to 26 out of 50. So I'm still 2 books behind schedule. So I've picked out a couple of really short books to catch up those 2 books that I'm behind at the moment. And the first one that I'm currently reading is With My Knife by Andrew Lansdowne. You can see it's really short. I'm about almost a third of the way through, I would say. This is a middle grade fantasy, and it is a trilogy. I read it several years ago when I was a lot younger, and I remember really enjoying it, but I don't really remember what happened, and I never finished the final book. So I just decided I'd give them another chance, and they're really short, really easy to read. So hopefully that'll bring my total to 9, maybe 10 books for this month, and then I'll be back on track with my 50 books. So that's all for my July wrap up. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you liked it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!